back to another episode of Power Rangers Lore. Today we're going to keep on the bandwagon of dinocharge by talking none other than about Kendall Morgan. Now, who is Kendall Morgan? Well, that is a good question. Many people, if we've not seen the series, will have no idea who she is. She did not make any more real returns outside of dinocharge besides basically the comic book series. She was not seen in the crossovers again. But let's go into more details about her and basically tell about her entire story. Now, Kendall Morgan is the proprietor and lead scientist, I don't know what the heck I was going with that one, of the Amber Beach Dinosaur Museum. Now, she's in charge of all what the exhibits and the like going on there, as well as basically the money flow and the like. Now, she also is able to hide the base of the Power Rangers inside the museum, and basically hire on all the Rangers to make sure that people aren't asking questions of why basically teenagers are running around the museum at late hours of the night. Well, it's because they work there. Perfect cover, and basically none of them would dare basically reveal that there is a secret underground Power Rangers base under the ground of the, well, museum itself. Now, she would be, for the first half of the entire run of dinocharge and super dinocharge, the main provider of all the technology, the new weapons, and basically figuring out what the Zords were. She'd be locating everything and all things on there doing that had to do with them. Now, what about her past? Well, we don't know much. She didn't get a background story that told basically any of like her past stories and the like. She just basically at some point came across Keeper, and the two collaborated to track down the Energems. Now, she would later on basically connect with the other Rangers and would basically set them up on adventures to go off and find these other Energems and the Zords that have been lost. Now, she is frequently pestered by the waitress Shelby, basically for any dig related work the entire time, and this before Shelby became a Power Ranger. So basically she basically rolled her eyes and said, yeah, whatever, we'll get on to that eventually. Now, this would continue to go on until eventually Shelby would become a Power Ranger, and then realize that she had to work with Shelby at this point. She continues to go on the process of informing the Rangers. Now, she's very straightforward, very confident in her abilities, and doesn't like any no-nonsense a lot of times. She basically goes, we have to do this. I don't care about your basically social lives. You have to work. You have to get these things and save the planet. Who cares about like little things such as, I don't know, going on dates and the like. Now, that would continue on for most of the series. However, things would change when they find none other than the purple Energem in the hands of an older man named Albert. Now, this would get difficult, and Albert would be the first ever Ranger that would basically be a one-off like most of the monsters. He'd essentially show up and hand over the Energem to somebody else. It would have to be basically broken and debonded from him and then handed over to the next generation. Now, things would get interesting because, as we know later on, Kendall Morgan would eventually become the next Ranger, but it's not immediately. Now, she's desperate to find somebody to basically be the next Ranger. They need all the Rangers to work together to help deal with this grave threat, and so she falls into one of the plots by such as monsters that would lead to the Energem being stolen. Now, she would create a device that would help seek out and recover Energems, and this would cause a lot of problems because she would basically have the Rangers distract Sledge while she stows away upon the Jetbot transport and decides to basically get her self captured along with Keeper and to basically free him. Now, they don't really know that she's captured. She basically just sneaks out and sneaks back in. She manages to find the purple Energem, only be captured and imprisoned in the same room as Keeper immediately after going, oh, I'm not captured, ha ha ha, oh crap, I am captured. Now, she does somehow bond with it at this point. Now, using nearby acid, she's able to corrode the cell floor, allowing the basically two to escape, and they are cornered by two spike balls, which are basically monsters, and she attempts to fight them off, showing that she can fight in some training, and this causes her to basically fully bond with the Energem and instantly morph into her new Ranger form. Now, why she didn't think of herself immediately upon doing so is a different thing, but she eventually does do so and becomes the Plesio Purple Ranger. Now, before this, she had almost given away to Snide to basically become the next Ranger, and no, not Snide, I'm sorry, Heckle, and that had caused some problems beforehand, but thankfully, it was not able to go into her hands, or his hands, and they continued going forward. And for the rest of the series, she would fight along with the Rangers and help complete the Rangers' defeat Sledge and all the other forces of evil, and even team up with Heckle once more. Now, she and Heckle would almost have like a kind of relationship at several different times. It would appear it's not a full relationship, but I think she felt more comfortable after he saved her life during a few of the misadventures of what had gone on, and he only did so to get closer to her. So it wasn't a full romantic relationship there, but I think she kind of had a little more feelings for him and probably could have felt opened up more if she didn't reveal that he was an evil monster in disguise. Now, after his basic revival, they didn't get to stay long together as things quickly developed into basically time travel shenanigans, and he went back to his home planet millions of years in the past. Yeah, it gets complicated, but hey, whatever. Now, they would not be seen after that until eventually the split history of the Shattered Grid, where basically everything starts going to hell as Lord Draken is attacking multiple different dimensions and the universes and timelines of different Power Rangers stealing their Ranger powers. Now, she would help to defend off the Ranger sentries at the museum, but basically being recovered by Jen and Kimberly, along with Coda, the only Rangers of the team that weren't captured or killed. Now, they would basically go back in essentially at that point, help fight off Lord Draken, and do much more. And after the said battle, essentially, she would be restored along with the rest of her team and the rest of the universe back into the main timeline. Now, after that, we do not see her again. Now, it's hard to say what she's been doing after that fact. It's very interesting. We're not really sure where she went. She was not seen in the crossovers with Beast Morpher and dinocharge, which they had several different episodes which they crossed over to. But that's basically it. We don't see anything more going on with her. Now, we do know of a few characters that were connected to her as Grandma G. Betty, or her grandmother. They doesn't really talk too much about her. Basically, she gets frustrated with her grandmother a few times, but realizes like she's family. Beyond that, she doesn't really have any personal connections to a lot of people. She's more focused to her work. Most of the time, she wouldn't even let people call her Kendall. The only two people who were allowed to do so were Keeper himself or Coda, because Coda was essentially a caveman and he didn't understand that she didn't like to be called that, so he just let it be. Now, the rest of everyone has called her Miss Morgan. Even Shelby was forced to call her that and continue on so. Just like most of the other series, not every character in the series will get a full backstory and fleshing out of things, but she did basically lessen up on all her strictness as time went on and became the character we know now as Kendall Morgan, the Purple Plesio Ranger. Now, hope you guys enjoyed this. She has kind of, a little interesting fact, she has the same surname as Kendrick Morgan from Lost Galaxy. But it doesn't mean there's any relationship. Basically said that they just chose a name, so they're not related. So don't think that they're related to anything on there. So that is, as you know, Kendall Morgan, the Purple Plesio Ranger. Thank you guys. Have a good one, and may the power protect you always. Make sure to comment, like, and subscribe at the end of this video. All your likes help me out, and all your watchers do too. Thank you very much, guys. I would really like to discuss with you guys what your topics are. May the power protect you always.